What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we are jumping in with a massive but concise breakdown of all of the changes that are coming to Destiny 2 alongside Edge of Fate. So this week a bunch of videos have rolled out, showing off gameplay of the new expansion content, but also largely a lot of the system changes for the game. And those details have kind of been spread out across different videos and outlets. But in this video we're going to round up the key information and generally try and set expectations straight with regards to what we're getting when it comes to armor and stat changes, reward tiers, changes to weapons, new archetypes, of course exotics, but also vendor systems, investment systems, currencies, and generally how we're going to play Destiny 2 moving forward, because not only have we got the new expansion, but most of the changes will affect the entire game. So we're going to try and break down more or less all of the key details in one place. Before we get into it though, have you ever tested your knowledge of Marvel Universe heroes or their backstories? Well, now's the time to embark on an epic journey with our sponsor, Marvel Strike Force. Pick up your favorite iconic characters by checking the link in description or QR code on screen and take them on various adventures to upgrade them and experience engaging new stories. Strike Force is a mobile squad RPG featuring epic combat and a wealth of character synergies, and these can be explored in story-driven campaign missions as well as arena modes and events. Characters can be unlocked to grow your roster, including favorites like Wolverine, Venom, and Iron Man. Plus, new players can earn up to 17 heroes in the first 30 days, including Spider-Man, Thor, and my personal favorite for any clash, Captain America. Plus, for a limited time, you can earn Ironheart in celebration of the new Marvel TV show, and then we can take our characters into multiple modes, including Alliance Wars, which is a massive weekly battle where players can join forces to complete raids and earn unique rewards while exploring team synergies to elevate your squad. Even better, if you download the game this month using my link, you can use code Bucky to unlock Red Guardian, Yelena Belova, Ghost, Winter Soldier, and Taskmaster for free to celebrate Marvel Studios Thunderbolts. So it's a great time to jump in. Simply download the game using my QR code or link below. Check out the gameplay and don't forget to grab those free rewards in the store. It's well worth checking out, and all of the details are in the description box below. Now though, let's get into this massive Edge of Fate changes breakdown. Big credit to Gif Kayla on Reddit, who compiled a bunch of information from different videos and news outlets over the past few days. We have seen new exotic weapons and armor. We won't go into all of the details about these because they've been covered pretty heavily earlier on in the week, but in terms of our existing exotic armor, Bungie have indicated that it will be locked to gear tiers 2 and 3, but players will be given 20 vouchers to use at Ada 1 to purchase exotics with whatever stat archetype we would like. So for any of our existing pieces of gear, we'll be able to go in and purchase basically a better version, reworked with the stat archetype system. On top of that, for exotic class items, they will automatically be moved into a particular stat archetype based on the perks that they have. So we can see here with Spirit of Necrotic, it's automatically moved it to a melee stat archetype, so that's the dominant stat on that piece of gear. Obviously, some exotics in Edge of Fate are going to be craftable. That includes the Graviton Spike Hand Cannon, and it will additionally get catalysts, including Rapid Hit and Subsistence, as well as a new one, the Temporal Alignment refit, where overcharging both Arc and Stasis modes will grant a period of increased damage. And of course, this weapon can switch between Arc and Stasis with different effects. Plus, it's worth mentioning, of course, with this having refits, it is going to be an exotic quest weapon, so probably one that we'll get access to at some point during or shortly after the campaign for Edge of Fate, as we tend to see with the major expansions. And hopefully this will be one of a few exotics that we'll be able to pick up. Looking to Edge of Fate a little bit here, of course Kepler is the new destination. Bungie have confirmed that the campaign will have a legendary version, the same as what we've seen in previous expansions. And for Kepler, world tiers, which increase difficulty on the destination, will apply specifically to the expansion, so world tiers aren't going to be added to all existing destinations in the game. But for the campaign, there'll be a handful of different missions, 6 or 7 big missions, with around 9 adventure-like side missions. And every time we complete a big mission, according to Scarrow, we'll get access to 3 smaller story quests, which can be done in any order. And after completing the 3 side quests, it essentially opens the next big mission, so slightly different format on the campaign overall. Otherwise, Bungie have kept things relatively spoiler-free in terms of Kepler and the expansion content. But looking to other systems, for power, we're all going to be reset to 10 power. The new power bands will move between 10 and 200 power. That will be the sort of level range of gear. And anything above 200 power will basically be a seasonal level, which is gained from gear after we reach level 200. Seasons will last for 6 months, with 2 major updates as part of each season. So for the first major update, the power cap will go up to around 450. Then for the second major update, it'll go up to about 550. But 3 months after that, everyone will reset back to 200. So anything above 200 is basically seasonal power, and we'll have to repeat that grind over time, with infusion up to level 200 being done with enhancement cores. But anything above 200 will use a new material called unstable cores, which we'll earn through seasonal content and from dismantling gear above 200 power. There will of course be the portal though, which will help us target higher tier rewards as well as more powerful gear, and there won't be the kind of lockouts that we have weekly right now with resets. So essentially more power to grind for, but faster ways to actually get that power by the looks of things. Moving over to the weapon side a little bit though, of course we now have special and heavy ammo meters shown under the ammo UI, and these will also signify when a guaranteed ammo brick of that type will drop next. So as we make kills, we'll essentially be able to work towards getting ammo drops now, which is interesting. Weapons will also come with tiers, so tiers 1 through 3 will basically be like weapons we have now, tier 1 with standard unenhanced perks, then up to tier 3 will offer us 2 enhanced traits, with tier 5 ultimately allowing us 2 enhanced traits, as well as enhanced mods, magazine and barrel options, and the origin trait. And when a weapon is tier 5, it will unlock a unique ornament, which is interesting as well, and those will be earned by playing harder difficulties of content, often outlined in the portal. So as we select higher difficulties of content, as we can see, the quality of rewards will actually be outlined in that list as well. And there are new weapon archetypes, such as the spread shot hand cannon archetype, which is basically going to behave kind of like shotguns, even with shotgun style bonuses like 1-2 punch. There'll also be rocket assisted frame pulse rifles that fire in bursts of 3 and high power draw bows with over penetrating arrows. Otherwise, of course, there will be new perks and weapon mods such as abundant ammo, which grants slightly increased ammo generation, and tier 4 and 5 weapons will get enhanced weapon mods. Otherwise, in terms of how crafting may play into things, we don't have any specific details yet. Moving over to armor though, there's some good news here. Bungie have said current armor will not be totally outclassed versus new armor, and will actually be converted into the new Armor 3.0 model. So Artifice armor that we have right now will be around tier 3, which will keep it relevant for a while, but as we move into the endgame, we'll be able to work on moving up to tier 5 armor pieces. And then armor stats have been reworked, and we'll be able to go up to 200 points. So as we've seen, there is now a health stat, and that increases health per orb, as well as flinch resistance. But as we move into that higher stat band, between 100 and 200, it will increase shield recharge rate and health. The melee stat reduces melee ability cooldown and energy from all sources, and when we get those stats above 100, it increases damage done by melee attacks at a scaling range, and that will be the same for many of these armor stats. The grenade stat will reduce ability cooldown for grenades and increase grenade energy from all sources, and as we push those stats above 100, it will increase the damage of our grenades. Basically the same thing will apply to super and class energy. Then there's a weapon stat for armor, which increases weapon handling and reload, as well as increasing damage against minor and major enemies, which will go up to around 15% at a maximum increase. Then stats above 100 will grant chance for ammo bricks to contain additional rounds and increase weapon damage against bosses and guardians. The guardian damage increase will go to a maximum of 6% in PvP. And additionally, the higher the tier of armor, the higher the potential stats will be when they actually roll. Additionally, those stats will now be bucketed into certain archetypes, so pieces will drop as, for instance, gunner pieces, where the primary stats are weapons and the secondary is grenade. Brawler pieces will have the primary stat focus on melee, with health as a secondary. The specialist stat will focus on class energy, with weapons as the secondary, and the paragon stat will focus on super, with melee as the secondary. On top of that, masterworking armor moving forward will increase the lowest 3 stats of the armor by 1 point each, and tier 5 armor at masterwork level 5 will gain an additional mod socket to increase stats even more. Then of course there are set bonuses for armor. We've covered some of them previously, like the Aeon and TechSec bonuses. You can see all of the different perk bonuses on screen here, but basically the bonuses will unlock when we have 2 or 4 pieces of the same set equipped. So as you can see, when we equip 2, that will grant 1 perk from a set, and when we have 4 pieces from the same set, it will grant an additional perk. When it comes to the portal though, obviously this will feature different activities in different categories. The activities will be updated with each major update, so every 3 months they'll change entirely, and retired activities like the Coil or Savathun Spire will also be cycled in and out of those playlists, so we'll get certain older seasonal activities rotating in, and the activity selection within the portal will show specific rewards that'll be available. with certain activities featuring bonus loop drops which reset on a daily basis. So this is how we'll target our rewards a little bit easier. There will also be reward ranks, so as we change the difficulty and the modifiers for a piece of content, the rank that rewards will drop at will actually change. So as far as we understand it at the moment, reward ranks will be the only confirmed source of higher tier rewards. So as we can see here, one of the ranks is showing a tier 3 gear engram, and it looks like as we continue to get access to harder difficulty activities, the tiers of those rewards will increase. So while we will have a lot of pieces of gear to earn again, or to get higher level versions of essentially than what we have currently in the game, there will be quite deterministic ways to actually earn them. As far as seasonal content though, there will be a hub, so sort of a seasonal home, similar to the event homes actually. There'll be an event home for Arms Week specifically as well, much like what we had for Heavy Metal, where we'll be able to go after certain weapons and materials. And there'll be challenges in here on a daily basis that reward 1 rank of XP, with weekly challenges rewarding 4 ranks of XP on the reward track. The reputation track consists of a bunch of materials and things we've already seen in the game, but there'll be additional new materials like unstable cores, the ones we mentioned for leveling up armor, and that will allow us to get the seasonal power for pieces of gear. The hub will also seemingly feature certain objectives and guildable titles, for instance, like Conqueror, and those things are going to be reworked with new objectives. There appears to be a difficulty above Grandmaster now as well, called Ultimate, which isn't specifically required for the Conqueror title, but obviously may have unique rewards and is likely to also be a source of things like tier 5 gear. Otherwise, you'll notice some pieces of gear have that blue flag in the top left corner instead of a standard release thumbnail, and this will actually symbolize new gear, anything that's been released in the current season. And reportedly, there'll be certain playlists and activities which grant additional rewards by using exclusive new gear. So that's an extra interesting component. Of course, we know that we're getting a new artifact, and there'll actually be some boosts which can be applied when using new gear. So they include having a full 5 of 5 set of new armor equipped grants plus 7.8% damage resistance, and having new legendary weapon equipped grants plus 6% damage for that slot, plus another where having a new exotic weapon equipped grants plus 15% damage for that slot. So that's another curious element to this. And in terms of the rest of the artifact perks, I'll link a thread down below that has all of the details if you want to check them out. Those are really the system changes for Edge of Fate. They are pretty in-depth. Like we said, there's a lot of depth there in terms of almost a new game level of system changes, really. Edge of Fate itself is still relatively secretive in comparison to the system updates. So many of these systems sound like a lot of work in the current context of Destiny 2. You know, if we're still playing the same content we have at the moment, I think that would generate a sort of hamster wheel effect where players were not that inspired necessarily, or at least a lot of players wouldn't be, to go on a very significant grind for new rewards. But as I've mentioned before, if Edge of Fate itself, Kepler, and the content drop has enough interest in stuff to actually play that is engaging for players, then I think all the new systems and the new content will complement each other quite nicely. My main concern is that Edge of Fate will be a relatively small expansion, which could potentially create an effect where lapsed players are not as driven as they could be to actually engage with these new systems, right? Basically, if the game is fun and there's loads of new stuff to do, it's less likely to feel like a chore than if we have to play reworked or existing content in the game. Of course, time will tell, but you'll have to let me know your thoughts below. I did want to kind of try and bucket all of the important info into one place though, so I hope the video has been helpful. If it has, a rating below really does help me on the channel. Also be sure to get subscribed and I can keep you posted with more content, but otherwise thank you for watching and I hope you guys have an awesome day.